I'm trying to figure out what leverage we actually have. What leverage do we have? They control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. It's their government. What leverage do we have?
The Democrat Party is finished. Democrat House Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Walmart Obama, Timu Obama as we know him, almost breaks down in tears as he's forced to admit that he has no leverage and the Democrat Party cannot do anything to stop Donald Trump. Also, a slew of new polls deliver a fatal blow to the Democrats, revealing that Trump and his agenda are more popular than ever. As always, like the video and subscribe to the channel, but I have to start with Hakeem Jeffries holding in tears as a reporter asks him, what leverage do you guys have to stop anything Trump's doing?
I appreciate the question, Kevin, but I'm trying to figure out what leverage we actually have. What leverage do we have? Republicans have repeatedly lectured America. They control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. It's their government. What leverage do we have? We are going to try to find bipartisan common ground on any issue. We will work with anyone in this town to get things done for the American people, to lower the high cost of living, secure the border, and keep our communities safe while defending dreamers, farm workers, and families at the same time.
That's what makes these protests even funnier and exposes them for obviously being performative, because the Democrats even know they're not going to result in anything. They are simply doing things for the sake of doing them. And that's how you know that they are rattled and panicking. And what makes it even funnier is that desperate and hopeless strategy is being adopted by the entire Democrat Party. And just today, Hakeem Jeffries actually came out saying he's going to fight Trump's agenda, even though he just said they have no leverage to do anything. And I'll show you that clip a little later. But let's move on to this CBS poll that just dropped showing Donald Trump more popular than ever. And the host cannot believe it. Watch.
We begin today with our first assessment of how President Trump and his policies are doing just 3 weeks into his second term. Our CBS poll finds that a majority of Americans, 53%, approve of the job he's doing. That's a better approval number than he ever reached during his first term in the White House. Joining us with more is our Executive Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto. Good to see you, Anthony. What's driving this?
I will keep it simple, Margaret. He is doing, in the eyes of the public, what he said he would do in the campaign. There's political value in that. In fact, 70% of people say he's doing what he promised. That's whether they approve of him or not. Now, there's another part of this that continues over from the campaign. There were words that he was described as being tough, being energetic, and he still is today in big majority numbers. So as people take a look in these first few weeks, there's been a lot of activity. They're getting that general sense of governance, and that's being reflected in these early numbers.
The reason why this poll is such a kill shot to the Democrats is because this is current. This includes the Elon Musk runs on USAID and the Department of Education. This includes all these Democrat activist judges trying to block Trump's executive orders. This includes the tariffs. This includes the plane crash. This includes everything that the Democrats were begging would hurt Trump's reputation and popularity. But in fact, it's made the people like him even more. But the bad news doesn't stop there. CNN just dropped some polls of their own that are equally as devastating for the Democrats.
We're getting some new information about how Americans view President Trump's, how he's doing his job.
Yeah, so, you know, CBS News, YouGov came out with a poll earlier today that had him on the positive side of the ledger, and I decided to average all the polls. And you know what? The average of the polls also has him on the positive side of the ledger. All right, let's take a look. Trump's net approval rating on February 9th. Look at this. In 2025, he's at +4 points. Look where he was in 2017, his first term at this point. He was at -5 points, so he's doing nearly 10 points better on the average. And more than that, as I mentioned, it's not just the CBS News poll, it's the Ipsos poll, it's the Gallup poll, it's the Pew poll. All of these polls have him in better shape than those respective polls had him at this point back in 2017. So the bottom line is, no matter where you look, Donald Trump is more popular than he was 8 years ago at this point.
Yes, the American people are thrilled that they have a real president back in office. We are thrilled that we no longer have a president who is actively working to the demise of our country. We are thrilled that we have a president who is bringing things back to reality and using common sense. And that's the thing that makes the Democrats look so bad and why they're more unpopular than ever, is because it's not even like Trump is doing anything remarkable. He's just returning to common sense. But the stark difference between common sense and what the Biden administration did makes every single thing that Trump is doing seem like a home run. The sheer reality that an executive order was needed to ban men from women's sports is absurd. But Trump signing an executive order to ban that made him look like goddamn Superman. And so it's hilarious that these people who didn't even vote for Trump are screaming about, this isn't what people voted for. No one voted for Elon Musk. No one voted for you to raid through the government, because they're pretentious Democrats who think that they know it all. But this next CNN poll shows that people who voted for Trump, we are happy with what we're seeing. Watch.
Entire first term, just 11 days. Just 11 days was he on the positive side of the ledger. Compare that so far. Every single day, all 20 days so far, he has been on the positive side of the ledger. So he has nearly doubled up the number of days in which he has a positive net approval rating from his first term. And we're only 20 days in. Every single day, Donald Trump has been in positive territory compared to just 11 days during his first term. The bottom line is, no matter which poll you look at, no matter what way you look at it, simply put, Americans like the job that Donald Trump is doing significantly more this time around than they did in his first term, when he just had 11 days in which he had a positive net approval rating compared to already nearly 3 weeks so far, Jessica.
That is pretty incredible to compare those two. So break this down then. Why, do you have any idea why more Americans are approving of his job, of the way he's doing his job this time around?
Yeah, you know, of course, Donald Trump won the 2016 election. He won the 2024 election. But when you went into his first term, there were a lot of folks who simply put did not think that Donald Trump was doing what he promised. Back in April of 2017, it was just 46%. Compare that to 70% so far.
I'll see so many fake interactions on Twitter of Democrats making up these fake scenarios in their head to try to make themselves feel better, saying, I know so many Trump voters who are regretting their vote. This isn't what the people voted for. I know Trump voters are feeling stupid. No one voted for Elon Musk, because they never cared to know what we were voting for. They just assumed we were all racist and misogynistic, and that's why we voted for Trump. They all assumed we were Nazis, but now they want to lecture us on what we voted for and why we wanted Trump in office. Oh, he hasn't lowered the price of eggs. Sure, we all voted for him in part due to the economy. But who else voted for him to end all of the woke nonsense? Who all voted for him to take a wrecking ball to the federal government and end all of this waste and corruption and bureaucracy? Who voted for him to ban men and women's sports and a return to normalcy and a restoration of American pride? So these Democrats who didn't vote for him themselves and also didn't ask us why we voted for him are now trying to make all these determinations. And that doesn't get more obvious than Hakeem Jeffries, Walmart Obama, coming onto the Congress floor today to say how he's going to fight Trump's agenda because he pulled a bait and switch on the voters.
I rise today to address the Republican bait and switch that has been taking place throughout the 119th Congress. The Republican bait and switch has three elements. Part one, talk about lowering the high cost of living, but do nothing about it. Part two, enact massive tax cuts for billionaires and wealthy corporations that will do nothing to improve the quality of life of everyday Americans. Part three, stick working class Americans with the bill for those massive tax cuts for billionaires and wealthy corporations by destroying Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid as we know it. House Democrats want nothing to do with the Republican bait and switch and we will do everything possible to stop it.
The Democrats are out of touch, they're clueless, they're pretentious, and they're mad that they're losers. They assumed we voted for Trump because we're all Nazis. And when they tried to look past that, they saw immigration and the economy and assumed those were the only two issues that we voted on. They conveniently left out the million other things that Trump said that he was going to do besides those two things. And if they would have asked a MAGA voter instead of just casting us off as a bigot, they might have learned that. But because they never did, they're so fixated on the cost of eggs that they believe that Trump isn't somehow fulfilling his promise to the people who voted for him. While the CNN poll shows that over 70% of people who voted for him are thrilled. It shows that the Democrats have no interest in understanding what the American people want. They just want to be vindicated. And I'm not even speculating about that. Ilhan Omar, the anti-American terrorist congresswoman, says it out loud as she tells a reporter she is going to keep fighting for what is unpopular. Watch.
Secretary Rubio was right in saying that it's getting harder to defend foreign aid because it's not popular. We saw the Chicago Council on Global Affairs surveyed American opinions on foreign policy, and they found a growing number want to reduce economic and military aid to other countries. So how do you convince the public that your point of view is the right one? Because it sounds like they're sliding the other way.
Well, foreign aid, I think throughout the history of our country has not been popular with the American people because we don't have that many conversations about what it does, how much of it it accounts for in our budget. A lot of people hear the millions, billions, and they don't fully have a concept of what that actually means, the lives it touches, and how important it is, both the soft power that we have as a country, how it keeps us competitive around the world, how it buys us goodwill. We can have the conversation, but when you just say foreign aid to a lot of people, they're thinking that we're sending bombs to other countries, which people like me and others oppose.
So despite most Americans not wanting us to spend a ton of money on foreign aid, what does she say they're going to do? Keep trying to convince us that we ought to be spending money on foreign aid. I could create a whole 30-minute video of clips of Ilhan Omar saying how she's for Somalia, she's Somalian, Somalia is everything. So we already know why she has an interest in foreign aid. But she's also so condescending. She acts like the American people don't understand what foreign aid is used for. No, we understand it perfectly. And in an ideal situation where all of the foreign aid money would be spent right, which Elon Musk exposed USAID is not doing, we would still have a problem with it because we're $37 trillion in debt and want to put America first. Did she not hear that part? The Democrats think people need to be lectured and talked to in a pedantic way because we're all children, we're all dumb. We're not against foreign aid. We just all agree that America has priorities at home that this money can be used for. But when Democrats assume that America first is actually some covert Nazi movement, then you're able to just conveniently disregard our legitimate concerns here at home. Sure, a part of my heart would love for us to provide free medicine to the world and build 1 billion schools in Africa. But money is finite. We are in debt. We have problems at home. And we wanted a government that was going to prioritize the citizens. But Democrats have just decided they're going to keep shooting themselves in the foot and taking the most unpopular side of every single issue. And if they want to keep doing that, I'm not going to stop them. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on those notification bells so you never miss a video. And I will see you guys in the next one.